Now, this is old and outdated. Back in the old days, when you were seeking another single person to have a relationship with, you would go to the blank seeking blank want ads, almost like you're trying to find a car. And now you don't go in the want ads either, you go to Craigslist. Now, I don't know if we've gotten to the point where you can seek out relationships on Craigslist. Yes, we get a nod from the back. But this kind of is that picture, women seeking men. And so as a SCM, that's the guy who hates acronyms, that's the acronym we're going with. SCM, single Christian male. And what does that look like, and what does that mean? And does that mean that those who are seeking, the women who are seeking the single Christian male, do they have the same expectations as we have of them or we have of ourselves? So that's the struggle. I apologize. Maybe Pastor Kelpine stood still the whole time and everything was good. I'm a wanderer, so I apologize. All right, so I don't want to be the talker. I want this to be interactive. And so I threw out 3 words, single, Christian, and male, and we're going to pound them out one at a time. And I'm asking you the good Lutheran question, what does this mean? What are the stereotypes, what are the assumptions of people who are single? Now, because I am not single and have not been for a while, I sent out a survey to 12 of my friends, and I realized I only have 6 friends, because only 6 responded. And so I have some things in my back pocket, but I'm assuming that there are certain things that you will throw out there. And realizing, okay, we're coming from a wide age dynamic. What am I supposed to be like, and what do people expect of me? So when we hear that idea of being single, what do we assume, people assume, or stereotype about us? Yes? Want to be married. Other ones. Yes. Single in the workforce. You've got all the time in the world. Awesome. Yes. Both absolutely right on. What's wrong with you? Yep. And at some level, my 6 people who I thought maybe were friends, struggled with it. I obviously said, answer whatever you are comfortable with, but, and I said, I'm not going to use your name or anything like that, but did they suppose because I came and approached them or asked them that I thought that there was an issue with them? I would like to believe that I do not come across that way, but that idea, there's something wrong with you. Other ones. Not enough fulfillment. Not enough fulfillment in my life. I have a brother and a sister-in-law who do not have children. They are the greatest aunts and uncles that my children could ever ask for, and just a real blessing to our family. And so you see how, okay, in the single world, that, well, how can you, aren't you missing something? There may be those times, but that's not an automatic. Other ones. That you're desperate. Yes. That the first girl that is out there, that let's make a connection, maybe a mother or a grandmother in that neighborhood. Do they try to set you up? Do they, let's be honest, right? I mean, going to a place, boy, this may never get on. Going to a place like Luther Prep, Michigan Lutheran Seminary, MLC. I mean, those are the places where you find spouses, and at some level, that is a conversation that has among certain people. This is the place where I'm going to find my spouse. Julie and I started dating when we were in high school, dated through college, got married right out of college. I can only imagine what my face looked like when one of my daughters said, all I want to do is go to MLC and find a husband and get married and have children. I'm like, you're kidding, right? Like that's what you think life looks like, and that's what you're supposed to do. The Bible doesn't say those are the cases. In the Old Testament, we were to be cautious of the unbelieving nations and things like that, and to avoid them. Yes, we are called people, but we have the opportunity to reach out to other people, to bring them to Jesus. So to put that out there. That's one of my biggest problems, is when there's a white elephant in the room, I will actually direct my attention to it and say it out loud. President Johnson at WLC, he always has a smirk on his face as I approach him, because he never knows what's going to come out of my mouth, and he's nervous about it. President, how's it going? And he just kind of keeps on walking right by. Because he's worried about the question I'm going to ask or what I'm going to have to say. I think being in this church body, that's what it looks like very often. And the two guys in the back row, they are both single. And I intentionally go for single guys because I realize the responsibility that a married seminarian who has a wife and a family might have. People say, whoa, what about hanging around with college girls? Well, I'm trusting of them, and we talk about it in advance, and we're not to date them, to date students and things like that, and they take that responsibility very, very seriously. So their singleness is a blessing and an asset to my ministry, because when I have married guys, then they are not able to hang around, they're not able to connect, they're not able to share Jesus as much because they're sharing Jesus at home with their families. So it's an interesting dynamic. So all of those things fall under single, and you might have had a few others. How about Christian? What is a stereotype that you are Christian? Jesus freak, absolutely. Goody. Bible thumper, absolutely. And if they are all of those things, that means they have no fun. If you're a Christian, you must not have any fun. We are free. We are free to live as God designed us, and freedom is awesome. Now, we can use our freedom and abuse it. We can do things that obviously are going over the line and contrary to what God's will for our lives are. And yet we have the freedom in Christ to live for Him. And so Christians have every right to have as much fun as anybody else. It's what is the world's perception of what fun looks like. I think I'm somewhat annoying even to my student workers on a daily basis. Because I'm usually very bubbly and excited and enthused to face the day, and hey, how's it going? And every day is a happy day. So if it's Ash Wednesday, it's Happy Ash Wednesday. Today it's Happy Men of Your Word Day. Everything is happy on the front end, and they're just kind of like, okay, you got to get over that. As Christians, we don't have to be the morbid, reserved type. It's okay. We have a lot of freedoms that we can exercise and enjoy in that. And then male. Some stereotypes of what maleness looks like. Tough guy. No, that's all right. Center of attention. Hey, watch it. No, I'm just teasing. All guys always have to be the center of attention. Messy. Slobbish. And with the idea of slobbishness, do we have somebody else going up? Unable to take care of themselves. Julie and I, we have lively debates. I said, This sounds like kind of morbid, but I'm like, if Jesus takes you to heaven, I'll never get married again. She's like, oh yeah, because you can't take care of yourself. I'm like, come on now. Now, having said that, I do not like I only eat leftovers for lunch because I'm too lazy to make a sandwich. That's an honest statement. But the thought is, I've already found that one person, and we have our differences and we have our agreements, but at some level, the thought is, well, you can't, Wayne, would not be able to take care of yourself. And the fact that we can find companionship in other places and in other ways is a great thing. And so, because to be quite honest, I am considered to be, in my family, they think I'm the center of attention. But when I think about that scenario, and again, not trying to be morbid, but my thought is, how do my children who would be grown respond to that next person? See, I am so simple, and I do not like conflict, that I don't need those four comparing lady two to their mother. I love children, but I don't know if I would be ready to inherit somebody else's children who might be fully grown and adults. And believe me, I live in a kooky family. I am the only child of my parents' second marriage. I have 3 half-brothers who 2 out of the 3 batted out of order. God sets his batting lineup of how it's supposed to be laid out, and then we bat out of order, and we have children, and then we get married, and then we might even get divorced, and then we might even have children with those same women we are divorced to, and then after having additional children, we might then go and get married to those same people again. So I come from this not as being a judgmental person. I see how sin works, and I see how we bat out of order, and so I think that's one of the beauties of working on a Christian college campus. They don't have to be afraid of, oh my goodness, I can't, I've never seen this happen before. How could this work? They get the understanding that Rev Shev gets it, and he understands, and he sees how the world works, and that I'm not in that naive little shell. I had some great ones for people who put it out there. Single, assume you have all the time in the world, forgetting that you do have all the work of running a home, cleaning, finance, cooking, yard work by yourself. And while it might not be as crazy as being married with kids would be, being single probably carries a lot more non-career work than someone who is married. That assumption. That also carries over into church. Well, you should teach Sunday school, and you can be on the council, and you can do all of this other stuff because you have more free time. Well, but just as I'm allotted free time in my life, I should be able to do that and serve in the ways that I want. This is going to be a little edgy from one of my pastor friends, who I would not have expected him to say something like this. But he stole Jeff Foxworthy's bit from the 90s. SINGLE, the acronym, single, staying intoxicated nightly, getting laid every day. He's thinking that is the perception that people have of single Christian, of being a single person. That it's just a big free-for-all, and there's debauchery, and there's drunkenness, and whatever else. Now, he's a pastor. I'm suspecting that his congregation doesn't see him that way. But how about that for a stereotype that goes along with it? And one of the whole ideas of being a male and single is that you're partying all the time, and that you just lack responsibility. And I trust that all of us in this room realize that nothing could be further from the truth. We all have responsibilities, whether it is within our home or a job or at school. No matter what age you are in this room, we all have certain responsibilities. We have responsibilities to others. This past weekend we had a retreat, a college retreat, and we had 100 students, and we were talking about vocation, and how vocation isn't just the job you do; it's every single relationship that you have. So if you're a son, if you're a father, if you're a brother, if you are an employee, if you are a student, and every person who you come into contact with, you have a vocation. And men of God are going to embrace that and say, there's a lot of stuff that God entrusts me with, and I'm going to give God the glory and do the very best that I can by Him, bringing Him honor and appreciation for the things that He has done for me.